ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाषाणदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for joining today for the third session and taking it so seriously, making a priority to attend this. And today is our third day, and we're going to discuss something more important, what we discussed yesterday in more depth. So before I begin, I'd like to give a recap of yesterday's session, and we begin where we end up yesterday in the second chapter. So start with the second chapter of Gita. Okay, so beginning, if you remember, second chapter started with Arjuna surrendering to Krishna. G, that we need a guru in life, guide in our life. Then second, Gita, I for identity. What's my real identity? We saw we are not his body, we are a spirit soul. Then T, the two dharmas, constitution duty and horizontal and vertical duty. So we saw the two dharma, the dharma in this world and dharma towards God. And also we saw how Arjuna's 5 questions was refuted by Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita. And now we are going to see further how the symptoms of Atma Rama, Gita, Atma Rama, one who is Atma Rama, self-satisfied, self-realized soul, what are his symptoms? So we saw there are general symptoms of a person who is a self-realized soul. Then we saw that how does he speak when difficulties come in honor and dishonor. That's how you understand self-realized soul. Then we saw how does he control his senses. So then further we say how does he sit, means how does he control his senses. That's where we're discussing. So we start with the second chapter, verse number 60. So even the wise are distracted by senses. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prashabham manaha. So he says even the wise are distracted by senses. And before this verse comes Vishaya vinivartante niraharasdehina raso raso varjam rasopiyasya param deshra nivartate. Param deshra nivartate. So what does this mean? So one may control his senses. One may say, I will not do this, I will not do this, I will not do this. Still mind will go towards doing those activities only. But if somebody gets a higher taste, if a child is playing with a naphthalene ball, it's very dangerous for the child. So you may give laddu in the hand of the child and take out the naphthalene ball, right? Why you give him something better, so he'll give something lower. In the same way, Lord Krishna is telling here, if we develop a higher taste for spiritual activities, we give up lower taste. So generally people think that the spiritual life is boring, or you have to give so many things, so many rules and regulations you have to follow, you have to do this, you have to do that. So this is a conception people may have while practice spirituality. But on the contrary, the process of bhakti yoga, or the way Srila Prabhupada is given, is very, very amazing. Chant, dance, and be happy. Chant, dance, eat, feast, and be happy. And when you're happy, you serve Krishna. And that's a simple process. So we bhaktas, we don't do unnecessary austerity. That okay, ye bhi nahi, wo bhi nahi, ye bhi nahi. No. We also eat nice prasadam, which is offered to Krishna. We have beautiful darshan of the deities. And we also have wonderful classes and knowledge about Krishna. And there is a dancing kirtan. And we'll try to have some kirtan at the end, introduce you what is kirtan. So the bhakti life is engaging our senses in Krishna's service. And we give the example of Ambrish Maharaj. So Ambrish was a king. But though he was a king, he himself will watch the temple of the Lord, use his eyes to see the darshan of the Lord, use his tongue to taste the prasadam offered to the Lord, and use his ears to hear the glories of the Lord, the songs offered to the Lord. So we see when we live a life like this, which is in connection with God, then what happens? Our life, our life becomes better, and controlling our lower tendencies becomes easy. And this is a stage of success. What? तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्परः वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So control your senses. So after you control your senses, what one should do? One should vashe yasyendriyani. One should control his senses, indriya, and yukta asit matpara. So this in second chapter, Krishna directly talking here about bhakti yoga. Arjuna, if you want to control your senses, you focus upon me. Take my darshan, sing my glories, take my prasadam, and attend the dancing kirtans, Mangalarti. So beautiful. If anybody comes to Mangalarti in Shishatipuram temple at 5 a.m., they feel this so amazing. Our darshan arti at 7:30 a.m. So the bhakti process is so amazing of absorbing in Krishna, you forget all pleasures of the world. And that's why devotees can live very happily without doing anything, any wrong things. That's because of the process of bhakti. But if we don't control our focus, if we don't focus our senses on Krishna, then what may happen? Dhyate vishay pumsa sangateshu. Sangateshu pajayate. Yeah. So dhyate vishay pumsa. If we don't think of Lord, then naturally we'll think of different things. And because when we think of different things, we develop a desire to attain them. And when you're not able to attain the things, we develop anger. And that's where the anger comes there. So while contemplating objects, sense, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment does develop, and from thus anger arises. So let's see one example. Steps before anger. So here we are going to discuss how we can control our anger. So suppose you see a new car, your neighbor brought a car worth 14 lakh, some new car, and you contemplate it. Then you develop a desire for the same car. Then already there's a home loan of 20 lakh, but the wife thinks, the husband comes and the wife says, I want the car at any cost. So it comes to their lust, where you want an object at any cost. Then wife tells her husband says, we already have a car, why to take more loan? And wife becomes angry. Wife starts remembering all bad things which happened between husband and wife. Big quarrel happened between husband and wife. They even forget the children were watching, and children watching the quarrel gets psychological impact upon them. So this is a whole cycle happen, and how that cycle happened because of contemplation. So here I gave example husband and wife. We can also take example where husband becomes angry upon small things upon wife because he was agitated in the office. Something did not happen the way in the office, so he's become angry upon the wife. So the whole point. So what is the reason for the anger? Is when our desires are not fulfilled there. And why desires are not fulfilled? Because you contemplated upon something for a long time. Like for example, Ajamila. He was born in a very pious family, but he went to a jungle and he saw a Shudra and Shudrani mating. His mind changed, and he brought the Shudrani to her home, to his home, and took away his wife. And he removed his wife, his parents from the home, and then he became very, very degraded. So the process of fall down is you contemplate the objects of the senses, you keep thinking about something which leads to attachment to that thing, and then attachment leads to lust. When lust unfulfills, you become angry. And anger leads to delusion, bewildered of memory, intelligence loss, and then person falls down the mental pool. So this is the way we can control our anger if we reduce our expectation. Understand whatever we want in our life may not happen. But rather than increasing our expectations, increase our mind in focusing on positive things, focusing our mind on Krishna, focusing our mind in bhakti, mind related to Krishna. And that makes it much easier, help us to control our anger. फिर हम अपना गुस्सा थम जाता है, फिर हम अपने गुस्से को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं इस कारण से. The fourth question, how does he walk? कि देखिए, अगर द पॉइंट है इसका, ओके, यहाँ पे बोले थे कि एक व्यक्ति को अपने सेंसेस को, इंद्रियों को कंट्रोल करना चाहिए. तो क्या कुछ इंद्रिया इंद्रिय तृप्ति नहीं करना चाहिए? सो जब तक हमारे पास शरीर है, हमको खाने को चाहिए, राइट, पीने को चाहिए, कुछ नेसेसिटी को चाहिए. सो फोर्थ क्वेश्चन में कृष्ण बताते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं कि आपको इंद्रियों को पूरा अलग कर देना चाहिए. उसकी इंद्रिय तृप्ति करनी चाहिए, पर इंद्रियों को ग्रेटिफाई नहीं करना चाहिए. इंद्रियों को ग्रेटिफाई नहीं करना चाहिए. तो यू हैव टू रेगुलेट द सेंसेस. हमको नियमित करना है, और जब हम नियमित उससे आगे जाते हैं तब प्रॉब्लम होती है. तो अवर्जन भी अटैचमेंट का दूसरा साइड होता है. अटैचमेंट एंड अवर्जन आर द टू साइड्स ऑफ द सेम कॉइन. जो अटैचमेंट अवर्जन होते हैं वो कॉइन का सेम साइड ही होता है. तो अगर हम किसी चीज से अटैच होते हैं, फिर बाद में उसी चीज से हम बहुत ज्यादा अवर्स हो जाते हैं करके. तो इसलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है लाइफ में कि हमें किसी चीज से अवर्जन भी ना हो, राइट, और अटैचमेंट भी ना हो. और तो इसलिए हम सेंसेस को रेगुलेट करते हैं. सेंसेस को रेगुलेट करना का मतलब क्या है कि हम रेगुलेटेड लाइफ स्टाइल जीते हैं. समय पे खाना, समय पे उठना, एंड रिक्रिएशन भी समय पे करना. सो रेगुलेटेड लाइफ स्टाइल brings the mercy of the Lord and life becomes better. प्रसादे सर्दुःखानां हानिरस्य प्रजायते प्रसन्ना चेतसो ह्यासु बुद्धिपर्यवतिष्ठते. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावनः न चाभाविता शांति अशांतस्य कुतो सुखम्. तो व्यक्ति क्या होता है, जब बुद्धि योगा उसका हो जाता है, जब राग और द्वेष से मुक्त हो जाता है, तो उसको क्या होता है, सारे दुखों से शांति मिलती है करके. और बिना उस शांति के, अगर अगर कोई व्यक्ति भगवान से अपने आप को नहीं कनेक्ट करता है, तो उसको शांति भी नहीं मिलती है, कुछ हैप्पीनेस भी नहीं मिलती है करके. एंड वंस आई थिंक द लॉर्ड मर्सी ही बिकम्स सेटिस्फाइड, एंड फर्दर लॉर्ड फाइनली एंड्स विद what is happens at the time of death. So at the time of death, one who remembers a Lord goes back home, back to Godhead. And with this, he ends the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'll just take a break for one or two questions. Any questions? Any question anyone has? Okay, so now we'll begin the third chapter. Now this third chapter is, okay, Prince Prabhu, you have a question?
Yes, bro. Hare Krishna, bro. So you said like we have not to do sense gratification, rather sense triptych. So what is that sense triptych?
Yeah. So I will now cover it in the third chapter. Ki what is our quota? So when we accept things in our quota, it is regulation. When we do beyond the quota, it becomes lust and greed, gives us misery. For example, Ravana was satisfied. Ravana would have been satisfied with his wife Mandodari. Would there be any trouble? but he is going and catching Sita, which is his, not his quota. Are you able to get the point? Yeah. Okay, so now chapter 3 we will start. Now, why chapter 3 is very, very important? Because many times we have a concept, अगर हमें भगवान को पाना है तो सब कुछ त्याग करना पड़ेगा, सब कुछ छोड़ना पड़ेगा, राइट? आप में से कितनों को ऐसा लगता है कि हमें भगवान को पाना है तो सब कुछ छोड़ना पड़ेगा, सब कुछ छोड़ना पड़ेगा, त्याग करना पड़ेगा? पर कुछ लोग डरते भी हैं, अगर हम भगवत गीता का सेशन सुनने आएंगे तो नॉर्मल जीवन नहीं जी पाएंगे, राइट? कुछ लोगों को ऐसा डर भी होता है कि ज्यादा गीता पढ़ लेंगे तो लाइफ बैलेंस नहीं हो पाएगी। इसलिए आप में से कितनों ने सुना है? हाथ उठाइए इस डाउट को। yes. ओके, तो इस चैप्टर में, थर्ड चैप्टर में भगवान पूरी तरह से जो है हमको क्लैरिफाई करते हैं कि कैसे हम एक अपना जीवन, अपना धर्म करते हुए, अपनी ड्यूटीज करते हुए भक्ति को लेके आगे चल सकते हैं। तो अर्जुन क्या थे? अर्जुन का मूड ये था कि अभी मैं लड़ाई ना करूं, मैं तो जंगल में चला जाऊं, लेकिन वो भगवान को बोले कि भगवान आप बताइए मेरे लिए क्या अच्छा है, मैं वो करूंगा। अब जब भगवान ने बुद्धि योगा के बारे में बताया कि अर्जुन तुम बुद्धि योगा करो, तुम जो है आत्मा रामा बनो, स्थित प्रज्ञा बनो, तो अर्जुन को लगा मे भी भगवान बोले तुम फाइटिंग मत करो, क्योंकि फाइटिंग करना अलग बात है और आत्मा रामा बनना अलग बात है। तो अब इसलिए जो थर्ड चैप्टर चालू होता है अर्जुन के क्वेश्चन से चालू होता है। थर्ड चैप्टर जो है अर्जुन के क्वेश्चन से चालू होता है, और अर्जुन का क्या क्वेश्चन है बहुत स्पेशल है। और अगर हम ये क्वेश्चन समझ जाते हैं तो हमें ये भी समझ में आएगा कि हमारी ड्यूटीज भी हमको भगवान के पास कैसे ले जा सकती है। और आज हम ये भी डिस्कस करेंगे कर्म क्या होता है, कर्म कैसे लगता है, राइट? कर्म क्या होता है और कर्म का कैसे संयोग बनता है। Okay, so today again we have lesson on tree, त्यागा, रिनाउंसिएशन और वर्क, विच इज बेटर? क्या हम अपने कर्म को त्याग कर दें या क्या हम कर्म को करें? ओके, एक क्वेश्चन था, हम एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं करें लेकिन अदर पर्सन को कैसे स्टॉप करें? तो अपना क्वेश्चन एक्सप्लेन करेंगे शिखा माता जी बिफोर आई गो फर्दर? ओके, यू हैव टू अनम्यूट, या यू कैन अनम्यूट, यू कैन अनम्यूट नाउ।
यस। सो प्रभु जी, जैसे आपने बोला कि हमें एक्सपेक्टेशंस नहीं रखनी चाहिए ज्यादा, जो भक्ति से ऑटोमेटिकली हम चीज से अटैच नहीं होते हैं और धीरे धीरे हम उससे डिटैच होते चले जाते हैं। बट ये हमारी इंडिविजुअल लाइफ तो नहीं है, हम गृहस्थ वाले होते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग हमारे सराउंडिंग्स में होते हैं। तो हम उनसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस नहीं रखें, क्योंकि हम गीता क्लास कर रहे हैं या बहुत सारी चीजें हम भक्ति कर रहे हैं, बट हम सिंगल तो नहीं है इस लाइफ में, लोग तो हमसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस रखते हैं। तो हमें कैसे स्टॉप करना है या फिर कितना हमें बैलेंस करना है, और कि बस इतना ही हम उनको प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं कोई भी चीजें, क्योंकि हम तो नहीं कर रहे हैं उनसे। ये हमें सेंस आ गया, दैट्स इट।
बहुत 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 अच्छा क्वेश्चन है कि कैसे हम दूसरे के प्रेशर को बैलेंस करें। तो देखिए, जितना हम अपनी ड्यूटीज को और अपनी लाइफ को बैलेंस करते हुए कर सकते हैं उतना दूसरों के लिए करना चाहिए। और सुन रहे कि हमारी लाइफ में इम्बैलेंस ना आए, इसलिए वर्ड क्या हुआ? रेगुलेशन। अब जैसे मैं भी एक ब्रह्मचारी हूँ, मेरी भी जो दूसरों को मेरे प्रति एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि ये सेवा है, वो सेवा है। हम मंदिर में यहाँ पर रहते हैं, so we stay in the temple and people have an expectation. So I made my one routine that morning 4 For 4:30 a.m. till 9 a.m. is for God. I don't leave my phone. I don't do other things. And night 9:30 I go to my bed. And between 9 to 9:30 I have my timings for my prasadam. And in between whatever I could do for others, that is my time for others. So that way my life remains balanced, people remain happy, and I try to serve to their legitimate needs. So if we have some regulation in life, we doesn't get exploited. Of course, there are times where we need to extend ourselves. Okay, so which is better? And आज हम योगा लेडर के बारे में बात करेंगे. We'll talk about yoga ladder, कर्म कांड, कर्म योग, ज्ञान योग एंड भक्ति योग. सो कर्म कांड से कर्म योग से ज्ञान योग से भक्ति योग. सो ये क्या है? दिस विल बी डिस्कसिंग फर्दर. सो exemplary कर्म yogis. Yeah. So Arjuna had a confusion. Should I renounce or should I act? Then Krishna answers. See, there are two types of people. One who are the Gyan yogis who renounce work, and there are Karma yogis who do prescribe work. But then Krishna says, if your heart is impure, you should not give up work. You should do work to purify your heart. Now you see the sadhus playing football, smoking cigarette. Can you say why, even after they become sannyasis, they're smoking cigarette and playing with their football? Or are they supposed to play with football or not? If they're sadhus, what do you say? Or they should watch TV or not? So the answer is no. Somebody is in a renounce order, they should not be playing cricket, they should not be playing football or smoking cigarette. Right? So you remember yesterday we talked about self-realized soul. He finds happiness in within. He is happy with God. So because due to premature renunciation, when a person renounces prematurely, his material desires has not gone. He has only given his duties. So even after giving his duty, he keep engaging in material desires. And that's what Krishna is saying, one should not renounce prematurely. Are you understand? तो कई बार जब लाइफ में परेशानी आती है तो क्या सोचते हैं, सब छोड़ छाड़ के जो है मंदिर में चले जाएं या बाहर चले जाएं करके. लोगों को ऐसा लगता है. तो कृष्णा ने बोले ऐसा ही नहीं करना है. जीवन में परेशानी है इसका मतलब नहीं सबको छोड़ छाड़ के चल दो. You get the point? Because our duties or struggles in our duties are for our purification. It raises our consciousness. Wait, raises our consciousness of our duties. It raises us above there. So how our day-to-day duties also can help us to achieve God, help us take us to God. That's where the Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 is continuing. And if you see from chapter 2, Karmane Vadikarestu Ma Phareshu Kadachan, to chapter 5, Bhaktaram Yagyatapsam Sarloka Maheshwaram, one theme is discussed, one constant theme. देखिए हमको ड्यूटी करने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. When we have a proprietorship in duty, controllership in duty, and enjoyership in duty, that's a problem. We think we are the controller. We think we are the enjoyer of whatever results come, and we are the proprietor. And so Krishna is saying in Karmanavadikareshu Ma Phaleshu Kadachan, you are not the enjoyer of your results, and neither you are the controller of your results. Right? Yesterday we discussed what we should aspire on. And in the 5th chapter end, Krishna is telling, I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the proprietor. When you know this, you will attain peace. So whole point of this, what we are going for journey from 2nd to 5th chapter, this is one constant theme where we'll be revolving around. And we will learn it in more depth. This is one theme. So premature renunciation is discouraged. So a person with impure heart renounces prescribed activity, taking the Vedic karma sannyas. Karma sannyas means sab kaam chhod do. He reverts to mental action. Now, see, you may see with a shikha and a different dress, but See, because I'm in a service, my full time is teaching Bhagavad Gita. I'm a brahmachari, so I'm wearing it. But I was also like all of you only. But it is a mercy of Guru and Krishna that I got this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And while I was working in a software company for 3 years, I worked in IBM. And that's the time I was thinking, see, I'm giving so much time to the software company. Why not give this knowledge of Gita to others full time? And that inspired me in the life. And now my life was totally dedicated to teaching Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic scriptures with it. So I also have a duty. It's not a karma sannyas. But what is karma sannyas is you don't do any work, don't lit any fire, and just be free. And that kind of Vedic karma sannyas, Krishna is telling you should not do premature renunciation. But in ISKCON, even those who are sannyasis, for them 24 hours is less. They have so much service for the society to give this Krishna consciousness to other. So in Vaishnava Sampada, it's called Tridandi Sannyas. It's not called Karma Sannyas. So what Krishna here is talking about is Karma Sannyas, where people, due to the frustration of life, they give up all activities. So nahi kashya shanam api jatu tishtati akaram krit karate hi avasha karma sarva prakati guna. So even you don't do anything, you will be thinking. Even somebody becomes a Mani Baba, but he will be writing criticism of other people. So the action is happening because your mind cannot be calm for a moment. Action will keep on happening. Therefore, do your prescribed duty. It is better than renunciation of action when a person's heart is not pure. And that is why we see that so many people in the past, this Baba, that Baba, and people come into bad news and everything. Because the sannyas or the renunciation of work is a gradual process. First, one has to work and purify his heart. When if one person's heart is purified of all desires, then person comes to Gyan Yoga, where he can understand, meditate on soul. He can further go to there. So today we will learn the whole yoga ladder. But before learning the yoga ladder, first we understand what is the purpose of life, what is karma, what is karma, what is the purpose of life, what it mean to come. Like yesterday was a question, what is moksha? So what is the purpose of life? So we will discuss these 2 points, and then we will see the karma ladder. The karma ladder we will see. So which is something important question. Okay, so my I'll tell you one story. I'll tell you one story, and you have to tell me the lesson from the story. So one, there's a story of desolate island when Mr. Patel was going on a ship. And while this Mr. Patel was going on a ship, the shipwreckage happened. And he came to an island while sailing on a log of wood. And when he came to that island, the Adivasi people came and they start saying Habahu, Habahu, Habahu. And first he became scared. And then they put a Taj upon him and said, "You are king, you are our king. You are our king for 1 year." And he actually becomes a king. Then after he becomes a king, then he asks his ministers, "Hey, what will happen to me after 1 year time? What will happen to me after 1 year time?" And minister says, "Arey, you will go to that desolate island." That means Viran island, जहाँ कोई भी नहीं है, काला पानी की सजा type, no? Like that. So then, now if we are in that position, what should we do? So what happened? You cannot change the route. You cannot change this route. Apart from that, you can do something. So what you should do? Okay, Kritik knows the answer. Okay, give the answer. Soumya Goyal. Yeah. Soumya, like to see?
Yes. So, Prabhuji, I will start making arrangement for my living in that isolated island. I will
Yes.
build a home for me, make arrangement for my food.
Yes, very nice. So what this king did, he sent half of his kingdom resources in the desolate island and made it a wonderful palace. Right? So when he made a wonderful palace, so when he shifted after 1 year, he lived very happily. Now there is a lesson for us also. so there's a lesson for us. So we are also in a similar situation. He had 1 year. Now we have 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. We do not know how much time do we have in this lifetime. But we do not know what after this lifetime. Yes, इस जीवन के बाद हमारा क्या होने वाला है. सबके लिए वो वीरान आइलैंड है नहीं है. तो इसलिए ये वीरान आइलैंड हमारे पास है, तो हमको क्या करने का है? while doing our duties. The king that did his duties, but while doing his duties, he started making his home in that desolate island. Same way, while doing the duties of the world, when we do our duty towards God, connect ourselves to God, then you go to the abode of God and you are happy forever after this life. So, this is a goal of life we should know when we are talking about Karma Yoga. Now, how to do that, right? How to do that? We have to understand the karma, the concept of karma. So, let's see the concept of karma over here. So, this will give insight into it. So work for Vishnu and avoid bondage. So we have to work for Lord Vishnu, do yajna. Now what is this yajna? We'll discuss this yajna. Now let us see the concept of karma. Somebody is born rich, somebody is born poor, somebody is born handsome, somebody is born ugly, somebody is healthy and strong, somebody is weak and handicapped, somebody is born to rich parents, somebody is born impoverished. Now who is creating this? Now there is no harm of a child that is getting this. Why this disparity? Right? Is the Lord responsible? Answer is no. Lord is only the witness. For example, a judge. Judge gives punishment to somebody and judge gives reward to somebody. So is a judge partial? No. Judge is simply awarding the result of people's own activities there. So that goes to show that people have a past karma of past life, isn't it? People have karma of their past life, which they're receiving in this life. Otherwise, how you explain that somebody is born in a rich family, somebody is born in a poor family? And whatever karma we are going today, जो आज कर्म हम कर रहे हैं, वो कर्म हमको कल को फायदा फायदा या हमको परेशान करेगा, right? So we are the makers of our own destiny. This is a concept of karma, right? Now there's another concept of moving into the cycle of birth and death, which I already explained yesterday. So the soul is going from one body to another. Now, what takes the soul from one body to another? Two things: desire and karma. अगर हमारा कोई बुरा कर्म है या अच्छा कर्म है, अगर दोनों का भी कुछ बैलेंस बचा हुआ है, हमको फिर से जन्म में आना पड़ता है करके. तो इसलिए तीन तरह के कर्म बोले जाते हैं: विकर्म, कर्म और अकर्म. जैसे तो ये तीन तरह के कर्म होते हैं. विकर्मा, विकर्मा मीन्स ब्रेकिंग लॉज ऑफ गॉड. Karma means good work on material platform that brings good reactions. For example, if you distribute clothes to poor people with the desire that you become rich tomorrow, then next life you become a cloth mill owner. But to become a cloth mill owner, you have to again take birth on the planet Earth, isn't it? That is karma, punya. And vikarma means pap. But there is akarma. What is that akarma? Which doesn't bring any reaction and which leads to spiritual knowledge. That is called akarma. So the art of work, so Karma Yoga talks about doing all our work for God. So this I'll explain you. The tips to make our work worship. So yesterday we saw that karmani evadikaraste ma phalechu kadachan ma karma phal hetu bhu mate sangos karmani. You have a right to perform a prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So this we saw yesterday कि अपना duty करो, but offer the fruits to God. Let me say why the God is asking the fruits, right? Because God is providing us everything. The food He gives, the everything God is giving to us. We don't make sunlight. God gives us sunlight. God gives us rain. God is giving everything. So when we try to enjoy without offering to God, then we become miserable. See, when we were not even grown, we didn't had a when we do not know where our food will come. But God gave food in the breast of mother at the child's milk there. Who gave us the milk? Who gave us the teeth? So this God has already planned for sustenance. So why to worry? So God gives everything. So also Another point is we have to know what is the goal of life. So when we do our duties, knowing the goal of life is to end the cycle of birth and death. Or I talk about the desolate island. That while living in this world, you prepare for the next life. When you're working in that mode, then what happens? Our work becomes transcendental. Our works become divine. Our work becomes worship. So people say work is worship. Actually, that's not true. Work is not worship. When work is done for God, then it becomes worship. When work is done for a higher purpose, then it becomes worship. If work is done to enjoy life, it doesn't become worship. If the purpose of work is to eat food and enjoy life, that is worship of our belly. That is worship of our senses, not worship of God. Only when the fruits of work is used to serve God, then the work becomes worship. And that's what Krishna is saying, how you can make your work worship. You can do any work, but do it for God. Do it for Krishna. And that work becomes worship that does not bring any reaction, it liberates the person. Why? Because you're doing it for God. The same work, what we are doing, we have to do it for God, and that's karma yoga. And how to do it? We are going to discuss how to do that. So, so how to do that? First, give up the sinful things like non-veg, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. So, non-veg means eating meat, fish, eggs, intoxication, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, gambling, horse race, casino, lotteries, illicit sex, extramarital sex, vulgar films, pornography. So, we don't do this thing. So, then we don't get sin and suffer in life. So, give up unholy professions. Then chant Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We get linked to God. We get a connection to God. And that becomes yagya. So, like you see, Lord is saying, do every work as an yagya. Now, what does it mean if we do every work as an yagya? And people say, Hare, yagya means what? Now, yagya is worship of Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu as a Yagyapati give all the food to the devatas, to the demigods. Now, person may say, okay, just by putting something in a fire, how you are pleasing Lord? How are you pleasing the devatas? So it is like a child goes to a doctor with a knee pain. But doctor give him a tablet. And he asks, doctor, pain to yahan ho raha hai. Aap medicine khane ko de rahe ho. But after 3 days, it becomes cure. The same way, when we please Vishnu by giving ahuti in the fire, Lord is pleased and we are happy. And there's a prosperity in this world. And what is the yagya for Kali Yuga is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Sankirtan yagya. That is the yagya for Kali Yuga. Very difficult to find pure ghee in Kali Yuga. And the priest who can chant the right mantras. But anybody can chant Hare Krishna, which is a yagya for Kali Yuga, to meditation. So what does yoga means? Yoga means हमको भगवान से जोड़ना है. So Karma Yoga means you connect to God through karma. Jnana Yoga means you connect to God through knowledge. Ashtanga Yoga means that you connect to God through meditation. And Bhakti Yoga means you connect to God through bhakti. There. So yogi could be anybody, doctor, engineer, professor, housewife, etc. Right? So now how we should take our allotted quota? Our quota should not exceed. For example, okay, we have to eat food, then eat vegetarian food, not non-vegetarian food. So not encroach upon others' property, knowing that everything belongs to God. Wealth, honorably earned wealth, and portion of which is offered to the Lord's service. Every religion talks about giving dasvansh for Lord's service. तो बोलते हैं पैसे को दान की छलनी में छानना चाहिए. So when we offer a ansh to the Lord, the money, the remaining money gives us happiness. And work that is not related to religious principles such as meat eating, gambling, intoxication. Endeavor that is not done out of greed for wealth and honor, but in divine consciousness. And a spouse married as per religious principles and not maintaining some illicit relationship. So when we follow this quota, what happens? Our work becomes divine. Only when we go over quota, we invite troubles in our life. For example, Ravana going for Sita. invited trouble for him. So when we go for the quota which is not meant for us, it invites trouble to us. So this is the way one should do karma yoga, depending upon God. So now what is this yoga ladder? Karma kanda. Now what is karma kanda? See, this is a whole, you see, this is extended yoga ladder, which is talked in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. How many of you want to know the yoga ladder? You heard the word yoga ladder in Gita. कि गीता में एक योगा लैडर है, आपने इसके बारे में सुना है, but it's a very new concept for you. Okay, so I will explain it. So what is this न्यू कंसेप्ट ना? So मैं इसको थोड़ा अच्छे से समझाता हूँ, क्योंकि ये योगा लैडर पहले 6 चैप्टर्स में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. जैसे हमने पहले अभी डिस्कस किया था, कि अगर हम हमें कार्य को नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए, राइट? Only when one is purified he should leave work. So therefore, if one has to go begin spirituality, then during spirituality he should not leave work. He should continue his work and continue spirituality. Are you able to understand this one? Because your beginning is through that. Then at a higher level, when his mind is purified, heart is completely purified, that time also he should work, but if he wish he can give work, purified, and fully focus on God, but not before the purification of heart. But then beyond Gyan Yoga, then person does meditation on the Supreme Lord, which comes in the 6th chapter. But above the even Gyan Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi is Bhakta, who is always immersed in love of God. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, that Bhakti Yoga is the highest. This will come in the 6th chapter. Now, who is a Karam Kandi? Now, what is the difference between Karam Kandi and a yogi? Karam Kandi worships many devatas. That if you want this benefit, okay, worship devata. And he wants to go to heaven. वो स्वर्ग को जाना चाहता है करके. आजकल लोग जो हैं, तो लोग क्या पहले ओके हम ये पूजा करेंगे जिससे स्वर्ग में बेटर फैसिलिटीज है रहने की, तो हम स्वर्ग जाएंगे. लेकिन जब उसको पता लगता है कि अरे स्वर्ग से भी वापस आ जाएंगे, तो स्वर्ग जाने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. तो हमें भक्ति करनी है, भगवान विष्णु की भक्ति करनी है, भगवान कृष्ण को ही हमको पूजना है. देन बट अभी उसको कर्म करना है, लेकिन वो कर्म के द्वारा भगवान को पूजना चाहता है, तो वो कर्म योगी. फिर वो प्यूरिफाइड हो जाता है, हमेशा आत्मज्ञान के बारे में सोचता रहता है, फिर ज्ञान योगी, फिर अष्टांग योगी करके. तो ये गीता में लैडर हमको समझाई गई है. तो निष्काम कर्म, अब कर्म योगी 2 तरह के होते हैं, एक सकाम कर्म योग, एक निष्काम कर्म योग. दोनों में गोल यही है कि हम भगवान विष्णु के पास जाएं, वी गो बैक टू गॉडेड. बट सकाम कर्म योग में पर्सन अटैच टू फ्रूट्स ऑफ वर्क लाइक फेम, वेल्थ. तो वो भक्त भी है, लेकिन ही इज अटैच टू हिज वेल्थ आल्सो, ही वांट सम फेम आल्सो, right? So it is a sakam karma. But further, he wants to serve God, but is not attached to fame and wealth. That is a nishkam karma yoga, which is higher. And actually, this is nishkam karma yoga, when we serve God without attachment to fame and wealth, that gives us knowledge of Atma. And then a person goes Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But there is a Bhakti Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, Gyan Yogi. So Bhakti Yogi is the highest. It enters the planet. The Ashtanga Yogi remains at a disk, and Gyan Yogi only attains the sunshine. But there is a progressive yoga ladder. What is? Directly from animal line, one comes to Karma Kanda, Sakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, and Bhava Bhakti. But there is a express elevator, Bhakti Yoga. Like for example, when Srila Prabhupada went to US, there were hippies. So Prabhupada preached to many intellectuals also, but there were some hippies who were taking drugs. So practically living like animal life, boy and girl living without marriage and other thing. But by association of Srila Prabhupada, they took the chanting of the process and directly they achieved perfection, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So Bhakti Yoga is an elevator. You don't have to do all these yogas. You can directly take the sadhana bhakti, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, taking Lord's prasadam, hearing about the Lord, 9 names of bhakti, and one can directly go to bhakti, which is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. And this is a progressive yoga ladder where you do sadhana bhakti and nishkam karma yoga level, and then it goes to bhava bhakti. First you do sakam karma yoga, then do nishkam. So devotee is little bit attached also, and then slowly he becomes detached, and slowly comes to bhava bhakti. And this extended yoga ladder, it is the first chapter. It's not for a devotee. It takes a long time. there. So we bring in devotee to offer the left or the middle bhakti yoga. So I'm just introducing this concept. You may not understand it fully, is fine with it, but just make a note of it. As the time passes, we'll discuss more upon it. Okay. Now, Krishna talks about a karma kanta, the cycle of sacrifice. Because when we do yajna, the Supreme Lord is pleased. And see how it happens. When you do yajna, rains come. And rains give birth to grains. And grains has a particle of semen. The jiva comes in the grains, then through the father semen enters the womb of the mother, and then the child is produced. And the child further comes and does the yajna through the Vedas. So this whole cycle is there, that how the consciousness is purified by doing yajna, by worshipping Lord Vishnu. By doing work for Lord Vishnu, our consciousness is purified. There's the whole cycle mentioned. And somebody doesn't do this yajna, he's not happy in his life. Therefore, when we take to spiritual life, the spirituality, we feel happy in our life, isn't it? We feel happy in our life by taking to spirituality, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. The cycle of sacrifice mentioned in Gita. Now, Arjuna may say, okay, if I have no desire, then should I renounce work? Then Krishna says, oh, be exemplary karmi yogi. And he gives example of Janak Maharaj. Janak Maharaj was such a personality. Janak Maharaj, what happened? He was a liberated soul. But still he was ruling the kingdom. So one day Ashwak Muni came in the kingdom, and Janak Maharaj was, and till the time Janak Maharaj came, Ashwak Muni did not start the class. And all the sannyasi disciples of Janak Maharaj thinking that how is giving so much respect to Janak? He's a householder only. So what happened? There is first a fire spread. Fire spread in the kutir of those sannyasis, the disciples of Ashwak Muni. They left the class and went to remove their clothes and bedding from there. And they came back. Now the news came that the fire has spread in the palace. But Janak Maharaj did not worry only. He kept hearing the class of Ashwak Muni. Then the news came that the fire has gone to the inner chambers of the court. Still he did not worry. He kept hearing the class. And after some news came, that fire got extinguished. And then Ashwak Muni told, see, though he is a king, he is a grahastha, but he is more dependent upon the Supreme Lord and all of his self-life soul, that everything is in the control of the Lord. So, because if I am absorbed in the Lord, I am absorbing here with the Lord will take care of everything else. So, see, other times he did his responsibility pakka, but here he had a dependence on the Lord, that because in connection with the Lord will take care. So, seeing that dependence of Janak Maharaj in the sannyasi there. So, he was a Jivan Mukta, he was a perfected soul, but he was doing his duty to set example. And therefore, Krishna quotes the example of Janak Maharaj here. Ki yad yat achati shesha tat tat etaro jana. That how the great people live, the common people follow. Right? Now, many times you say, oh, you should follow Vedic culture. People will argue, you see, Americans, they don't follow Vedic culture. They are so advanced. We Indians are not advanced there. So we tend to follow where people are our idols, our heroes. So if real heroes are those who follow dharma and people follow them. And a king is natural hero for his citizens. So if king follows the dharma, then naturally everybody follows the dharma. So therefore, devotees should live an exemplary lifestyle that other people also inspired that अरे हमें भी भक्त बनना है. ये इतने अच्छे लोग हैं, हमको भी भक्त बनना है. भक्तों को कभी भी लड़ाई नहीं करना चाहिए, गुस्सा नहीं होना चाहिए. ये सब कार्य unnecessarily घर वालों से नहीं करना चाहिए. Because we should be exemplary. And I know many of you may be watching this series with a lot of obligations at home and things, but nonetheless, you've taken out this time to learn about Gita is something very special. And please continue like this is third day, and the fruit of knowledge of Gita is something very amazing. So exemplary karmis is Janak Maharaj, obligatory duty without attachment. So they're doing their work but without attachment to results. Bhagwan dekhenge what will happen there. The King Janak, father of Mother Sita. तो यद्यदाचति शेष तत्तदेव तदना said parmanam kurute lokatad anuvartate. And Krishna said, even I am being in work. See, when Krishna was in Dwarka, he performed an ideal life of a householder. एक गृहस्थ को कैसे जीवन जीना चाहिए भगवान ने खुद दिखाया. भगवान कृष्ण सुबह जल्दी उठ जाते थे, चाहे वो खुद 16,108 रानियों के साथ थे, लेकिन 16,160 रानियों के साथ भी भगवान ने 16,108 फॉर्म्स ले रखे थे. हर रानी के साथ अलग अलग रहते थे. कैन यू इमेजिन? दिस केवल भगवान ही कर सकते हैं और कोई नहीं कर सकता. इस जीवन में एक पत्नी को एक पति को सेटिस्फाई करना और एक पति को एक पत्नी को सेटिस्फाई करना ही मुश्किल होता है, लेकिन भगवान कृष्ण 16,000 रानियों को भी सेटिस्फाई रखते हैं. दिस इज समथिंग अमेजिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड. And he gave palace to each of his wife, but still he was so detached. Morning 3:30 only he will get up from bed and start doing his duties to show that how a householder should live, how a householder should live his life. Though he won all the kingdom, but he made Ugrasen as a king, and he was serving under Ugrasen. So this was a detachment of Krishna. So Krishna performed his duties. See, though he's supreme Lord, he's becoming a chariot driver of Arjuna. So he had executed. He will give charity to the Brahmanas. He will take care of his children also. So he showed that how a grasta should live. So that's why Krishna is saying, if I do not know my duty, the whole world will go into ruin. And therefore, Arjuna, you should also do. So because Arjuna was concerned that, okay, I would be the cause of creating unwanted population. But Krishna is saying, Arey, if you don't do your duty, you will create more ruination. So do your duty. But act without attachment. And don't disturb the ignorant people. Like many people, like if somebody saying, okay, sab kaam dhanda chhod ke sab pura bhakti karte reh jao. But that's not what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita. Right? How Krishna, how we can keep doing bhakti. So we have to do our duties, and Krishna is saying, Arjuna, do your duty. While doing your duty, you do bhakti. And that's what one has to do. The yoga. That is called the yoga. And here Krishna says this, ignorant person think himself the doer. Prakriti kirimanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankar gunaatma kartamiti manyate. The person in knowledge of the truth. तो इस दुनिया में गुण ही सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, 3 गुण. तो क्या होता है ये 3 गुण कैसे सब कुछ करते हैं? फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोविड के, so देवी ऐसा गुणमय ममाया दुरत्तया. So mode of ignorance became high. In one day everything is stopped. Same way, when mode of passion increases, the population increases. When mode of ignorance increases, people start killing each other. So 3 gunas make people rotate. And this is also a reason, see, sometimes we don't want to be angry, still anger comes. We don't want to have a lust, but the lust comes. So we are controlled with the gunas. What happens? We are controlled with the gunas. There. So Prakriti Kirimanani. And when we come to the 5th chapter, I explain this concept more elaborately. What is Prakriti Kirimanani Gune Karmani Sarvasha? कि प्रकृति ही सब कुछ करती है, लेकिन हम सोचते हैं हम कर रहे हैं. इसका क्या मतलब है? Right? It may be looking confusing to you, but I explain the 5th chapter. So Sunday evening when you come, so tomorrow also very special concepts are there. कि दिव्य ज्ञान क्या होता है? What is transcendental knowledge? And the 5th chapter, the Sunday, we will see how the 3 things work. Prakriti, Jiva, Prakriti, and Ishvara. There. So I'm coming. So every day is a very special concept we learn in Bhagavad Gita. And here Krishna is talking about Bhakti Yoga. That do all your activities for me while depending upon me. And don't think yourself the proprietor. And act on my order. Vai sarvani karmani sannyas adhyatma chetsa. So you do all your duties, but offer them to me. Nirashira nirmano bhuta yudasya vigata jara. And what will happen if you have faith in my teachings? You will get muchantapi karmavi. You will get free from all sinful reactions. But if you disregard my teachings, vinashyati, nothing good will happen. Right? Nigraham kim karishati. Now it talks about do your duty, don't imitate other. Better to do your duty than imitating other people. Okay, now the last lesson we come to, enemy of the soul. So remember, we are talking about do as things of your quota. So when due to lust and greed, we want to take what belongs to others, doesn't is our quota, that is the enemy of the soul. For example, Ravana became lusty. He brought Sita. That became his enemy. Same with the money, which doesn't belong to us. We harm somebody and take some money out of greed. That is the enemy of the soul. So lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, we harm others, criticize others. These are actually the enemy of the soul there. And therefore, Arjuna is asking, sometimes it happens by push. Also, we commit mistakes. We become angry, or we become lusty, we become proud, we become greedy. And we didn't know how this all happened. Right? Abhivashnaya. Even we don't want it, we are not able to control our behavior. Right? Katha केन प्रयोक्ताहम papam चरित पुरुषा अनिच्छा अभिवाषण है बलादित नियोजिता. How many times experience you don't want to do something wrong, but still people are forced to do. People have bad habits. People get addicted to alcohol. Some may get addicted to mobile phone. Nowadays, mobile phone addictions have started. So somebody addicted to watching movies. Somebody addicted to a girl, or a girl addicted to a boy, and they know it's not good for them. Like so many jihad, in name of jihad, so many girls are marrying a Muslim boy, and then this spoil their life if it's not proper. And how this all happening? So Arjuna is asking, it seems by force. People know it's not good for them, still it happens, right? Isn't it? So yeah. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So Lord Krishna says, Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhava, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidhi, Enam, Hi, Varinam. So what is the cause? Kama Esha. So Kam Esha is lust only, Arjuna, which is a cause for Krodha, wrath. And this is born a mode of passion. Mahashano Mahapapma. So this wrath, this anger and lust is actually the cause for the fallen of the jiva, for the sinful activity. And there are 3 degrees of lust. So one is like fire. So human life is considered. So human life is considered to be like fire. It is burning. Then smoke is compared to animal life. And then tree, dhrum avrena is come. So trees are compared to embryo covered by wool. Embryo cannot see what is happening outside the world. Same way trees are an ignorant species. Animals, they are covered over like smoke, fire covered by smoke. And human life is fire, where we can actually uproot this lust. And this lust is never satiated, no matter whatever you do, how much you do. And then Lord Krishna says a secret. Where is this lust? Where is this bad habit situated in? Answer is Indriyani Manobuddhi. It is situated in our Indriya. Indriya means senses, in our mind and intelligence. So we have to attack all the 3 places. So when people have that bad habits, they have to attack all the 3 levels. But first they should engage their senses. Give up bad habits and engage the senses in the positive habits. Because just saying no to bad habits will not work. You have to engage the senses in something positive. Same way, engage your mind in hearing about God. Engage your mind in kirtan, in hearing about the kirtan of the Lord. And engage and sharpen your intelligence by hearing message of Bhagavad Gita. So when we attack at the 3 places, we can actually control the mind. Because above the senses is the mind. Above the mind is the intelligence. And above the intelligence is the soul. The soul can control the intelligence. Like you decide, oh no, I want to be a better person. I want to be a changed person. Then you feed your intelligence. You come for the Gita class. You make it an understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Then you associate your mind with chanting the holy names of the Lord, the Kirtan. So that way mind gets purified. And engage your senses in service of the Lord. Take away from the wrong places, which stimulates into bad habits. Or give up the bad sangha. Sangha sandhyate kama. Give up the bad association where you go into bad habits. Then we can come out of those bad habits. And that's what Krishna is talking over here. The desire, the location of lust. So senses are higher than matter, mind is higher than the senses, intelligence higher than mind, and soul is higher than the intelligence. So one should conquer of the mind, intelligence first, they're more powerful than the senses. But steady the mind with deliberate spiritual intelligence. And then the next chapter will be transcendental knowledge. See tomorrow, very important concepts tomorrow. Right? Okay. So it's 9 o'clock and we are able to complete the chapter today, the second and the third. So we are on the track. So we again probably now will able to manage 18 days, 18 chapters. Okay. So now's the time for question answers. Any announcement? Vipin Veeradesh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees, for joining in. Tomorrow we will be announcing the names of all the devotees who are regularly filling the quizzes and getting good marks. So I hope all of you are receiving the quiz link in the WhatsApp group. So we request devotees to kindly fill in the quiz. Tomorrow we will be announcing the names. At the end of the Gita course, those who regularly attend the quiz will also be getting some special prizes. Thank you very much. Over to the question answers, Prabhuji.
Okay, so there's one question. Why Lord Krishna had so many wives, people were looking up to him for inspiration. Oh, this is a good question. Actually, Krishna did not marry so many wives. See, those times, the kings were allowed to marry many, many wives. Right? There. So it was Dwapar Yuga, and king could maintain, and king need more children also to increase more praja, more kings, and things. And they could maintain, so the king could have many, many wives there. So Krishna only married 8 wives, but actually Krishna was not attached to any of the wives. That is mentioned that Krishna, though these wives of the Lord, Rukmani, Satyabhama, they're so beautiful that even Cupid will get attracted. But Lord was never attracted to them. Only Lord attracted to reciprocate with their devotion. They wanted Krishna as a husband, Krishna became their husband. Not that Lord wanted anything to enjoy them or wanted to attract them. So Lord is pure. Then what had happened? The 16,100 girls was captured by Bhamasur. So when Lord Krishna went to kill Bhamasur and release the 16,100 girls, they said, Lord, nobody will accept us. We want you to be husband. So out of mercy of the Lord married all the 16,100, but he manifested 16,108 forms and gave palace to each. He did not carry them into dormitory. 100 queens in one dormitory. He did not do that. He did a palace there. So he did his duty very perfectly, and he just reciprocated with the love of his devotees. There. Yes, Payal.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah, voice is not coming.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah, a little louder you can speak, or maybe close to the mic.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Now it's clear, audible, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's better.
Prabhu, I have one question. As we learn about the ladder, yoga of ladder, as we are started with the sadhana bhakti, as we said. So, like in sadhana bhakti, we are not much dependent on the Krishna, or we are not much able to regulate our senses or anything to the to the service of the Lord, or we could not able to see in the connection of the Krishna. So, like how we can progress, like in that ladder of the Bhakti, Prabhu?
So, do you mean to say we are not able to regulate our senses?
Yeah, Prabhu. See, like we just started with sadhana bhakti. Like suppose we are living in the bhakti yoga. We saw that we are started our life with like animal life, and we started with the sadhana bhakti. So maybe we don't have too much. We can't connect everything towards the Krishna, or we may don't have that much level of dependency to the Krishna, or we don't have that much understanding. Then how we can see that we can see everything in a regulative manner?
Yeah. See, this is what the sadhana bhakti does. So as you keep progressing, chanting the names of the Lord, practicing under a guide, read the Bhagavad Gita, slowly it will happen, isn't it? See, we can't expect, see, though Bhakti Yoga is an elevator process, but we need more association of devotees, we need more hearing, and eventually we learn, isn't it? See, this Gyan Yoga process and Ashtanga Yoga process takes lifetimes. Bahunam Jannam Yante Gyanmama Prapandante. But Bhakti Yoga is one lifetime process if you do it sincerely. So as you keep in devotee association, you will learn more there. And you'll be able to see everything in relationship with Krishna then there. So we are just beginning, right? So just like if we go to a school, there's a LKG, UKG, first class, second class, third class. So like that, as we keep going, our progress. But the beauty is, the more you go, more you feel happy in the process of bhakti. It's not Kashtadayak, it is Anandayak.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, in continuation to that, I just want to ask you, suppose Prabhu, sometimes, as we take on the step of regulation, we say something, agar suppose we have started process of bhakti, like you said, we started the process of chanting or hearing something, then sometimes, okay, as we study, like we should not go into that, four principles. So sometimes we'll think, okay, I am not that renounced, right? I can do this. Like, okay, this is not the sometimes we think we own tend, okay, we should not do that.
So
So
Bhaktivinoda Thakur says at every level we should mark some principles and we should follow them. And by following them, we rise to the next level. You get my point? So it's not that everybody has to practice the same level of principles. So everybody has to choose their level and practice the principles strictly of that level. Then you become qualified to practice the principles of the next level. Get the point? So first you have to choose, define, and take guidance. What are the principles for you? Then you have to follow them. Nicely. So then this question will not come. But if you don't know your principles, then this question will come.
okay, sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes, Ankur Prabhuji. Ankur, go ahead. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, so Guruji, my question is regarding good karma versus bad karma. So
Yes.
yesterday, am I audible to you?
Yeah, I'm audible. You're audible.
So yesterday you briefly spoke about the importance of intention in a karma,
Yeah.
right? So you said that a karma done with a good intention towards Krishna consciousness is a right karma. Now, from an intention standpoint, there are a lot of things that drive intention, and one of them is the knowledge of a person that evolves over time. So, from an intention perspective, how do we decide between a good versus bad karma? Because it's very subjective and it keeps changing over time. And there are multiple things in current scenario which impacts the intention of a person.
Yes. So what are the right intentions is akarma, right? Akarma. What is akarma? When you do any activity in connection to God, it's called akarma. And it also means doing a prescribed duty given by God. Like, for example, somebody, I'm not talking of caste system when we say about Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. What I'm saying, people have their natures, right? Somebody like to be a teacher, somebody like to be administrator, somebody like to be businessman, somebody like to be simple working with it. So there are different natures people have. So based on the nature, there are defined sets of rules and regulations. So when you follow those sets of rules and regulations as a matter of your duty, okay, this is my revision. For example, if you're a husband, okay, this is my duty towards wife. So you do those duties as a husband. You're a father. So this all. But you do it, I'm doing it for my purification of heart. These are God-given duties to me. So let me do it for God. You got the point? So when you have those intentions, you don't accrue sin while doing your duties. But when we have other motivations, okay, let me earn more money so I enjoy more, that is the intention. Let me take badla from this person, if that is the intention. So that binds us in this world. Are you able to understand this? What should the intention?
Yeah.
So whole our karma is about our intention that we are doing it for God, and we connect all our work to God there. And let take any example. If suppose you are working as somebody working as a software engineer, isn't it? So what one should think, okay, this duty, I've got this duty for our behalf, so I should use this my job to maintain my family and raise my family in Krishna consciousness, connect them to God, and myself connect God. When you go to the office, first pray to the Lord, Lord, I'm doing your work, so let me do it in divine consciousness. Understanding that you are the doer, and let me offer all the work for you. Same way, we should also give some donation to the Lord in whatever form there. Lord, this is for your pleasure, or at your home you worship the Lord there. So you utilize everything solely for God's service, a part of the result. Then family also, take to home there. So you're engaging everything to God. That's the whole point, which is the Karma Yoga talks about. So what happens? Your whole life start becoming divine by that. And chanting the holy names of the Lord is a fulcrum, which brings that consciousness in us.
Thanks, Guruji.
Okay. Rohit. Rohit. Okay, Rohit. Huh? Okay. Anil Prabhu has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanmat Pranam. My question is the suppose the people getting a life as per the past karma. So the past karma is a part of the subtle body, or it is independent from the subtle body.
See what happens? The mentality comes with a subtle body. So when you are born, so that time only your karmas comes. What all karmas you will receive? क्या सुखा रहेगा क्या दुखा रहेगा? I decided the time you have taken birth. And with respect to time, that sukha and dukha will come based on the universal situation. You got my point? Based on the astrological, like that's astrology. They take the chart, the astrological chart, and that. So which will take that how the sukha and dukha will come in your life based on the time. So though astrology may tell you what comes, but it may not define how will you act to it. You have a choice. How do you act to sukha and dukha coming in your life, isn't it? There. So therefore, the karma can give us an indication, but that doesn't bind us. We always have a choice. See, we can be compelled, but we can be tempted, but we cannot be compelled. You get my point? We can be tempted, but not compelled to act. So action is always a matter of our free will. Okay. Okay, so there's a Medhavi Mataji. So ask a question. How do karma for Lord, for example, work which I do in office is for earning money and get good high. How do I with the intention of doing for the Lord? Yes. So that work only you have to change the motivations with. That the only purpose of work is not to earn money. Work is earning money is a part of it. But one should think this is a God-given duty. I should do it nicely. And I should make a goal that I should work nicely so high comes. But then leave it on the Lord whether it comes or not come. If it doesn't come, don't become frustrated. Get a point. Then plus you understand that this office work, you should understand the goal of life. The goal of life is not to work whole life and then die. The goal of life is we purify our heart and go back home back to Godhead. We become a devotee of God and we go back home back to God. That is the goal of life. So now you have to think how your office work can help you in that goal of life. There. So the office work can help you purify your heart. The office work, the fruits of your work, you should engage in God service. And you can do your work for God, some part of your work, and associate with devotees. Then slowly, your work will become God's service. Does that answer your question? Okay. So somebody will ask a question, how should I do my karma without worrying about result? So first you should make a goal, right? You should always have a goal. Okay, I'm a student, I have to cover this much syllabus and I want to score this much. So you should work hard. But after working hard, understand whatever God gives, let me accept. And if you make a mistake, you get less marks, take those mistakes and improve it next time. But results are not in our hand. That's the whole point of Karma Yoga. And before start studying, pray to God. Okay. I think last question will take Niranjan.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, I have a question. Like, can we change our karmic reactions in this life?
Yes. By bhakti, you can easily change your karmic reaction. That's the power of bhakti.
So my
Only God can change our karmas.
if it is so, then the astrological predictions, what they have done, will be wrong, Prabhuji. We
Yes.
can
So they say
change.
also. So the many astrologers say if you're a devotee of Lord Vishnu, it will not work there as it is.
Okay.
Many some genuine astrologer there, he will tell if you're a devotee of Lord Vishnu, so these predictions will not work as it is. Because now you're in Lord Vishnu's hands.
Okay, understood.
Okay. So thank you very much. So meet tomorrow.